Yeah, and I think marriage is very different to when you're, I guess, single and like you're in these relationships, situationships where, you go on a Tinder date and afterwards you're calling your boy or your girlfriend to debrief
Right.
and, kind of having those level of conversations.
Yeah.
I think as soon as you get married, you're now like, it's a completely different ball game
Yeah.
because there's, first of all, a sacredness to marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And secondly, you just need to, like you said, be super, super careful who you allow to enter, who you allow to speak
Yeah.
into your marriage.
Defo.
And that's what our pastor, our coach has allowed us to do. And there's been times when we've not really been seen eye to eye
Yeah.
on an issue.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been able to go to our pastor and say, and just lay everything out on the table.
Yeah.
And he will say, he will just give a fair, assessment, a fair response.
Balance.
Yeah, then kind of going to your friend
Mm-hmm.
who's just kind of going to, by default, take
Yeah.
your side.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go to your friend, she takes your side.
Right.
And then we're kind of ending up being entrenched in our positions rather than finding ways to meet each other
Yeah.
and
Halfway.
resolve. So I think that's something that's really helped us a lot.
It has.
And to be honest, for me, something that's very, very different to how I've approached, especially conflict
Yeah.
in previous relationships before
Same.
getting married, because it's just kind of like, well, the boys are gonna hear about this, so, and then you just end up like, just getting stuck.
Yeah, exactly.
Getting stuck.
It's really important to kind of be able to pinpoint, like, if you don't have to be in a crisis point to invest in an area of your marriage. In fact, I think it's actually better, like, when things are good, to invest in a particular area. But if there is an area within your marriage specifically that is a point of contention, I really encourage you to, and this is something that's helped us, is to pinpoint what that thing is and then get some wisdom in that particular area. Because it's really easy when, like, it's one thing that's an issue, but we have a tendency for that to allow us to skew our whole perspective of the whole marriage. So, for example, it could be money's the issue. You're having differing views about how you should spend your money. Maybe one of you is more of a spender, one of you is more of a saver, and that's kind of causing some tension. But instead of kind of like pinpointing that, it's like, oh no, the whole marriage is bad. Like, my husband's stingy, he doesn't love me, all of these things, rather than learning about that particular area. Or maybe the point is sex, and one of you feels like you're not having enough of what you want, or whatever it is, and instead of looking at that as the issue, it's blown out to be the whole marriage. So what I would do is, like, pick one particular area in your marriage that you want to work on, and pick up a book about that area, or receive counseling, like speak to someone who you trust about that area, and work specifically within that area. And I actually think in the same way, like if you have a business, you have a particular goal or a thing that you're working on. Like, in some seasons it might be, okay, we're expanding. In another season it might be, okay, cool, we're building our team. In another season it might be, we're tightening our systems. You should look at your marriage in the same way. Like, what's the particular area that we're working on right now? And I think for us it's finances. We've done a lot to kind of understand how you view money and how I view money. Understand your strengths as far as like managing money, and my strengths, and kind of like work with those things. So yeah, like, learn together, but also don't fall into the temptation to write off the whole marriage as bad when it's actually one specific issue that can be worked on through something as simple as picking up a book together. So with us, we are reading a book together called Married Sex. And we'll just, like, make it fun. Like, we'll just read 2 pages, like, we'll read aloud together and, like, make it a point of discussion.
Yeah.
And it's easy to think, oh, I don't have the time with this, but most likely you spend about half an hour watching, a show together, which is fine. Like, it's good to have fun, but maybe you could just pick half of that time towards reading a book together and just having a discussion. And it's not about racing through the book or like racing through the podcast episode. It's about like slowly taking the time to go through that resource.